unless otherwise specified by the board. Participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and note their name and municipality. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer rather than to an individual board members, district employees, or members of the public. A speaker may speak once during each comment period. Please note that these sessions are designated for comments to protect the confidentiality and privacy rights of all members of our community. The board encourages members of the public to direct any comments regarding particular individuals, such as students or district employees, privately to the superintendent or other appropriate administrators or board members, or to communicate with the board and superintendent privately by sending an email to psdschoolboard@pennridge.org. Questions raised and not addressed may be followed up at a later time. Okay, we're going to start with the music department trip to Disney. We're going to skip over the Key Club right now on our agenda until Mrs. Hoffman arrives.
Okay, so this first trip, for those that may remember, I don't think we've had a big music trip like this since 2017. And at that time, it was marching band, jazz band, drumline, color guard. It was really all the band groups that were on this trip. And actually, Mr. Farrer is the one that ran that trip. That was right when he was coming in. It was something that Mr. Benson had kind of got the wheels rolling, and then Kevin was able to come in, and we welcomed him with having to plan this massive trip. But if I remember correctly, you did use Peak Tours, I think, for that trip, and it was a successful group. It was one that lots of the music groups in the county do utilize. So that's what the itinerary is through, again, is through the Peak Performance Tours. So this trip is a December of 2019 trip, but they are seeking approval early enough so students can start fundraising and start getting prepared for this, as well as the parent groups to help start fundraising. So I did send out the trip template, and then we also posted the itinerary. And so December 4th, the group would be leaving in the afternoon, right towards the end of the school day, and they would miss school Thursday and Friday. That's the only days that they would miss. And they would really be performing and also receiving instruction at 3 of the 4 parks. The only one they're not getting to is Animal Kingdom, but the other 3 parks they're getting to. And so performing is involved in this, so it's a great opportunity for students. If there are any questions about this, I will let either Steve or Kevin answer them for you. Anybody have questions about that first one?
Yeah, I guess I'm have a couple of questions. Unless
Okay.
you want to go first, Jenny?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so in regards to the transportation of instruments, and that's usually a sensitive point. So you're proposing multiple Penske trucks?
No, could he go up to the podium first?
Look, he's going to answer me. He's not the answer me.
No,
You're proposing multiple Penske trucks for this trip with internal drivers, or how do you see these trucks getting to Disney?
So when we went in 2017, we opted for the Penske truck rather than flying instruments down for multiple reasons. Number one, the danger of you lose sight of them there, and also it saves $50 on each ticket to not check baggage. When we went in 2017, we had the PMA helped rent the truck, and then we had 2 volunteer parents drive it down. There was, based on our repair budget that we have allotted for the instrumental department for music school, that allotted for any damage that could occur, and also when we rented the truck, we had a rider on any damage that would happen should it be a result of the truck or an accident that the truck was involved in any way. But if it were something like traveling down there and we dropped a case off of the truck, that was covered by our district plan.
Right, as I
But any
recall.
accidents the truck would be involved in was under the Penske rider that we had while we
Okay.
rented it.
All right, so so you got, this is going to be multiple Penske trucks. You got 200 students, 200 plus students, luggage and instruments. You're not talking one Penske truck.
So, and to be completely honest, I can't recall exactly how much space was left in the truck when we went down with about, I think, when all was said and done, we had about 110 between parents and students that went down.
It was a smaller number.
The benefit of it is we don't have to bring percussion instruments, except for the drumline equipment for the parade. The vibraphones and the basses and everything that takes all that room up in the trucks that travels to and from all the football games, almost all of that doesn't come. And that's part of what helps with that. Realistically, it's not unlikely to fit 2 trucks is what I would think would be most likely, considering we fit the entire marching band that was a little larger in 2017
Right.
in 1 truck between choir and orchestra, choir predominantly being luggage that could be stacked, and orchestra probably being treated with the same responsibilities as the band equipment. I would say we're realistically looking probably around 2 trucks.
Right.
Which would be-
Because that's what you kind of indicate here in the
Yes.
summary. It would be more than 1 truck.
Correct. And then we would shoot for the same, we had 2 parents drive down for the truck so they could caravan and go back and forth and not worry about one trying to drive all the way through and trade off. So we would estimate 4 parents that we would ask to volunteer to drive the 2 trucks down.
Okay. And in this number that you have here, the cost per student, roughly, and I know these are rough numbers,
Right.
so bear with me here. How many spots are allocated for chaperones slash teachers, et cetera, that are being paid by the students?
The way Peak will run theirs is regardless of the number of students that come, the 3 directors, Steve, Marissa, and myself will go for free to obviously chaperone the students. And then from there, any 15 participants in the trip that sign up, not just students, that allots a free staff space. So in the question of would any of that go towards, all of those paid for spots would be based on our staff employees. On the marching band staff, we have 7 members of district staff that are part of that. It would allot to them first, then we would use them as our primary chaperones, and then should parents decide to come on the trip, they would pay to go on the trip. And so let's say we don't use all of the free spaces, that money can be reallotted into the sum total of the trip to try and save the family some money prior to heading down there before their final payment is made.
Okay. All right.
You
Jen,
good?
you got anything?
Oh, no, I was curious. I'm glad to see that you have the insurance on it.
Yes.
I don't know why in my mind I was thinking this was a springtime trip. But you do have the insurance, and the price of the trip, I wanted to point out, includes 3 meals on 2 of the days and 2 meals on the 3rd day. So I think that's good for the students that you've worked that into it. Oh, I do have a question about the security guards.
Yes.
So you have private nighttime hotel security, 2 guards. So does that relieve either the staff or any parents having to be awake throughout the night?
Yeah, yes, it does. So when we went down 2-3 years ago at this point, we would have, if there was any time in between that time frame when security was on staff, I had staff chaperones and parent chaperones in the hallways, the 2 hallways that we had. They were relieved by security guards. And then in the morning, when I would wake up and we would head down to breakfast, the security guards would give me a list of any, so-and-so came out, or so-and-so needed to see their mom or their parent, or needed to see a parent chaperone, and any log of any activity that happened in the hallway relative to our students, I received that next morning.
Okay.
And we always had staff members and parents there until they were there, and then immediately when they were done until, breakfast time.
Okay.
I've used Peak several times with choir, and that's one of the best things about Peak is they supply a security guard. Otherwise, as a director and as parents, or in shifts,
Yeah.
you've got the first 3 hours, it really works out.
No, I'm glad that you have that,
Well, it
because
seems
I
like
would
a long
rather
day,
that than.
too.
What's that?
It seems like a long day. The
Well,
itineraries from
right, like,
6:30 in the
there's no
morning to
way
like
that
9
you're
at night,
going
so to have